He was a billionaire, but he chose to live as a poor man. In a forgotten frontier town. No name, no power, no safety. Then he met her. A girl who saw his soul. Before his secrets, she loved him, without knowing who he really was. But the truth, it did not arrive quietly. Came with black cars, men who owned his past, and a choice that could destroy everything. Walk away from billions, or lose the only person who ever loved him for who he is. What happens next will test love, loyalty, and truth in ways you never expect. Stay till the end, 'cause the final choice changes everything. Before we dive into the incredible story, do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it moved you, share it, comments below, and let someone know you are never alone. I arrived in the frontier town, with dust on my boots, and a secret heavier than gold in my chest. No one there knew my name. No one recognized the empire I built. And that was the point. I wanted love that did not bow to money. The wind smelled of earth and survival. Wooden houses creaked under time. People looked at me like I was just another man, trying to make it through another day. For the first time in years, felt invisible. Then I met her. She stood near a broken fence, hands rough from work, eyes soft with something rare. "Ines, you look tired," she said, as if she could read the miles in my bones. No one had ever said that to me before. They usually saw the suit, the power, the wealth, but here, there was only me. Days passed. We worked side by side, under a sun that showed no mercy. She laughed easily, even when life offered her nothing easy. And I began to forget who I was pretending to be. One evening, a storm rolled in without warning. The sky cracked open, thunder shaking the ground beneath us. We ran toward shelter, but the old barn groaned, like it was about to surrender to the wind. Inside, darkness wrapped around us. Rain slammed against the walls, like 1,000 restless ghosts. She was shaking, not from fear alone, but from something deeper, something carried for too long. I stepped closer, my hand brushing hers. "Cold, fragile, real. Why do you stay here?" I asked softly. She looked at me, eyes reflecting lightning for a brief second. "Because leaving costs more than staying ever will." Her words hit harder than the storm outside. For a moment, I felt exposed, as if she had seen through every layer, every lie, every hidden truth. The barn door burst open, wind rushing in like it wanted to tear us apart. She stumbled, caught her, and in that instant, with chaos roaring around us, she held on to me, like I was the only safe place left in the world. Not a rich man, not a powerful name, just me. And something inside me broke open. Not fear, not weakness, something far more dangerous. Love. Unexpected, undeniable. The storm howled louder, but I barely heard it, because for the first time, someone held me, without knowing what I was worth. And for the first time, I feared the moment she would find out, and everything would change, because the way she looked at me now felt too pure, too rare, too real to survive the truth. And as the storm kept tearing the night apart, I realized something far more terrifying than losing my fortune. I was about to lose the only person who ever loved me, before I had to prove anything at all. And I still had no idea how to tell her who I really am. Her fingers still clung to my shirt. As the storm softened into a low, restless whisper, I felt her breath, warm against my chest, steady, trusting, unaware. And that trust cut deeper than any blade. Morning came slowly. Gray light slipped through broken wood, painting her face in quiet gold. She slept beside me, like the world had never hurt her, like pain had never learned her name. I stayed still, afraid even movement might steal this moment away. Then voices echoed outside. Sharp, urgent, men calling my name, my real name. My chest tightened. Boots approached the barn. Heavy, certain, impossible to ignore. He stirred. Her eyes opened, soft at first, then confused, then searching mine. For answers I had never given. Who are they? She whispered. The door creaked open. Suits in a place where dust and struggle belonged. Their presence felt wrong, like wealth forcing its way into a world built on survival. Sir, we finally found you. The words fell between us, like something breaking. Her grip on me loosened, just slightly, but I felt it, like the ground shifting beneath my feet. They know you. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from something worse. Distance. I stepped forward, heart pounding louder than the fading storm. I wanted to speak, to explain, to hold on to what we had. But truth stood there now, undeniable, unforgiving. The words burned in my throat. She shook her head slowly, eyes filling with something fragile, something slipping away. All this time, you let me believe. Each word she spoke felt heavier than the last. I reached for her hand. She stepped back, not far, but far enough to remind me that love built on silence starts to crack the moment truth arrives. The wind carried the last of the storm away, but inside me, everything was just beginning to break. And in her eyes, I saw a question I might never be able to answer, even if I spent the rest of my life trying. And still, I moved closer, because losing her felt like losing the only truth I had ever found, and I was not ready to let that truth walk away. She kept stepping back, until the light no longer touched her face, until shadows held her instead of me. I felt the distance grow, not in steps, but in something far more permanent. Say something true, she said quietly. No titles, no lies, just you. The men behind me shifted, uneasy, like time itself was waiting for my answer. I swallowed hard. Means nothing here. Her eyes flickered, not convinced, not yet lost. Then leave it, she replied. Leave everything that stands behind you. Her words landed, sharp, impossible. The suit stiffened. Sir, this is not wise. But wisdom had never felt like this. This raw, this terrifying, this real. I took a breath. Low, heavy, final. I built everything. For control, for power, for a world that could never hurt me again. My voice cracked, something I had never allowed. But you saw me, when I had nothing to protect me. Silence stretched between us, fragile, waiting. I stepped closer. No wealth, no empire, has ever felt heavier than losing this moment. Her lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to believe, as if hope was still fighting inside her. Then one of the men stepped forward. The board is waiting. Millions depend on you. Millions. The word echoed, cold, distant, meaningless. She heard it too. Course they do, she whispered, her voice softer now, but steadier. You belong to them. I shook my head. Belong nowhere. If I walk away from this. Her gaze searched mine. King, honest, then prove it. 2 words, simple, impossible. The wind slipped through the broken barn again, cool against my skin, like a quiet warning. I turned slightly, looking at the life I built, standing behind me, then back at her, the life I wanted, standing in front of me. Time stretched thin, every second, voice, every breath, consequence. My hands trembled, not from fear of losing wealth, but from fear of choosing wrong. I took one step forward, and everything inside me shifted. The men called out again, urgent now, almost desperate, kept moving toward her, toward something I had never learned to hold. She watched me closely, as if measuring truth, as if weighing my soul. And just when I thought I was close enough to reach her again, she spoke. If you cross that line, you lose everything. Her words stopped me mid-step, not as a warning, but as a truth. And in that suspended moment, between what I was and what I could become, I realized this choice would define more than my future. It would decide whether the man she believed in ever truly existed at all. And I still had one step left to take. My foot hovered above the ground, caught between two lives, two versions of myself. The air felt heavier, like even the wind was waiting. Then slowly, I placed it down, forward, toward her. A breath escaped her lips, soft, shaken, alive. Behind me, voices rose, urgent, breaking. Sir, think carefully. But for the first time, I was not thinking. I was choosing. I reached her, close enough to see the fear she tried to hide, the hope she tried to bury. Choose this, said. Not the empire, not the name. The silence that followed felt louder than the storm before. Her eyes searched mine, digging deeper, as if truth had layers, and she needed all of them. Then prove it again, she whispered. Her hand lifted slowly, not to hold mine, but to press against my chest. Right here, give this a life that survives without lies. Her touch burned, not painful, but awakening. Behind me, a phone rang sharply, again and again, relentless. I did not turn. The world I built was calling me back, demanding, expecting. But her hand remained steady, real. If you stay, she said softly, there is no going back, no safety net, no hidden power, just truth, just struggle, just us. The word felt fragile, like it could break if held too tightly. I closed my eyes for a brief second and saw everything: glass towers, endless numbers, people who needed me or needed what I controlled. Then I saw her, standing in dust and sunlight, with nothing but a heart strong enough to stand through storms. I opened my eyes and reached for her hand. This time, she let me take it, warm, uncertain, real. The phone stopped ringing. The voices faded, one by one. Footsteps retreated, until only silence remained. A different kind of silence now, not empty, but full of consequence. She looked at me, closer than before, still searching, still unsure. You do not understand yet, she said quietly. This life will test you, in ways your wealth never did. I nodded slowly, then let it. A faint smile touched her lips. Not joy, but something deeper. Respect, mixed with fear, and something still growing. We stood there, hands joined, worlds separated, yet somehow closer than ever. Then she stepped back slightly, not letting go, just enough to look at me fully. If you stay, she said, you work, you struggle, you earn every piece of this life. No shortcuts, no secrets. I tightened my grip gently. I want that. But even as I spoke, a distant sound carried through the air. Engines. More than before. Closer. Faster. Her expression shifted. Not toward me, but toward the horizon. And in that moment, I realized, walking away was never going to be enough, because the life I left behind was already on its way back to claim me. And this time, it did not feel like a choice anymore. The sound grew louder, engines cutting through the quiet, like a warning that refused to be ignored. Dust lifted along the horizon, a rising wall, moving toward us. She turned fully now, eyes narrowing, reading danger the way she always did. You said you chose this, she murmured. I did. Then understand this. Her voice sharpened, not cold, but clear. Some worlds do not let go easily. The vehicles came into view, dark, polished, out of place. I passed, arriving without permission. Doors opened in unison. Men stepped out. Not hurried, not loud, certain, always certain. Sir, this has gone far enough. The words carried authority. With ownership. I felt her hand tighten around mine. A silent question. Will you stand, or will you fold? I stepped slightly in front of her. Instinct, not thought. There is nothing left to take me back, said. The man closest to me smiled faintly. There is always something. His gaze shifted, past me, toward her. And in that single glance, everything changed. Whoa, said quickly, too quickly. But the damage had already begun. She felt it. I saw it in her eyes. The realization, the danger. Is this what follows you? She asked softly. I had no answer that could protect her. The wind stilled, as if the world itself held its breath. Then one of them stepped forward again. We can make this simple. Return with us. And this place remains untouched. Untouched. The word echoed, heavy with meaning. My chest tightened. Understood now. This was never only about me. It was about control. And control never walks away quietly. Her hand slipped from mine. Slowly. Not rejection. Not yet. But distance born from truth. You said you wanted a real life. She whispered. This is what real costs. Her words grounded me. Sharper than fear. I looked at her. Really looked. Not as an escape. Not as a dream. But as a choice. With weight. With consequence. Then I turned back. Whoa. The word left me steady. Final. A ripple passed through them. Small. But real. The man sighed. Then we proceed differently. Step forward. Then another. The space between us closed. And for the first time, I realized. This was no longer about walking away. This was about standing firm. When everything begins to push back. Harder. Stronger. Without mercy. Behind me. I heard her move. Not away. But closer again. And that single sound gave me something I never had before. Not power. Not wealth. But a reason. To stand my ground. Even as the world I once ruled. Prepared. To break me. For daring. To leave it behind. Their steps slowed. Not from doubt. But from calculation. I could see it in their eyes. They were measuring me again. Not as a man. But as an obstacle. You are making this harder. The lead man said. His tone remained calm. Which made it worse. Calm meant prepared. Behind me. Her presence stayed close. Quiet. Steady. Unshaken. And somehow, that steadiness held me stronger than anything I ever owned. I am done being controlled, I replied. The words felt different now. Not defiant. Certain. A faint smirk touched his face. Control was never the point. His gaze flicked again. Toward her. Influences. My pulse sharpened. Every instinct rose at once. Do not bring her into this. Too late. The reply came smooth. Almost effortless. A gesture from his hand. And everything shifted. More men moved. Spreading out. Closing space. Cutting exits. The barn. The open land. The sky itself. Felt smaller. She stepped beside me now. Not behind. Not protected. Cool. Her shoulder brushed mine. Warm. Real. Fearless in a way that made my chest ache. They think I am a weakness, she said quietly. They misunderstand me. Her voice held steel. Not loud, but unbreakable. The man watched her carefully. Interesting. One word. But it carried weight. Tension. Danger. I felt it instantly. Whoa. I said again. Firmer this time. She is not part of this. He tilted his head slightly. Everything you choose becomes part of this. Silence followed. Pressing. The wind returned. Low. Restless. Like something circling. Then footsteps shifted again. Closer now. Too close. My hands curled slowly. Not in anger. But in readiness. I had never stood like this before. Without contracts, without protection, just flesh, breath, and a choice I refused to undo. Her hand found mine again. Brief. Enough. We stand. She whispered. Not for long. One of them muttered. The lead man raised his hand slightly, and the others paused, a decision forming. You built something powerful, he said. You know how this ends? I did. That was the truth. Power does not release what feeds it, consumes, or it reclaims. I took a slow breath. Then maybe it ends differently. This time. For the first time. His expression shifted. Not much, but enough. Crack. Small, but real. Behind him, the engines idled. Low. Patient. Waiting. Always waiting. The distance between us thinned, until it felt like one more step would decide everything. Then suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the air. Not thunder, not wind, something harder, closer, and every head turned, including mine, toward the ridge beyond the field, where movement flickered, unexpected, unplanned, and far too close to be a coincidence. Her grip tightened instantly. You said this was your world, she whispered, but that is something else. And in that moment, I realized this was no longer just my past catching up. Something new had entered the field. Something neither side controlled. And whatever it was already moving toward us, fast enough to change everything again. The movement on the ridge grew clearer. Not men in suits, not power dressed in control, but people, farmers, workers, neighbors, standing together, quiet, unafraid. She exhaled slowly. It came. I looked at her, confused. You think I am alone here? She said. This land, these people, we carry each other. The truth settled deep, not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable. The men behind me shifted, uncertain now, 'cause this was something they did not understand. Not money, not influence, but loyalty, real, unbought, unshaken. The lead man studied the scene, then looked at me. You would trade everything for this. He nodded. Everything. For something real. Silence stretched, long enough, feel like a lifetime. Then slowly, he stepped back. Small motion, but it changed everything. The others followed, one by one. Control. Retreating. Not defeated, but no longer absolute. The engines faded, dust settling behind them, until the weight they carried lifted from the air. I stood there, breathing, feeling something new. Not power. Peace. She turned to me. I softer now, but still searching. You stayed. I smiled faintly. I arrived with nothing. Maybe I needed that, to finally see everything. Her hand found mine again, this time, without hesitation. Around us, life moved, simple, honest, real, and for the first time, I understood. Wealth can build walls, but never a home. Power can command people, but never hearts. Love, quiet, steady, true, is the only thing that stays. When everything else walks away, I looked at her, at the life ahead, uncertain, hard, beautiful, and I chose it, not once, but again, in every breath that followed, because in the end, a person is not measured by what they own, but by what they are willing to stand for, and who they choose to stand beside.